Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night Hard Mode Fresh and Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, actually we're going to be skipping the Harrier race for some fucking reason. I don't know why, but yeah.
You also skip the part where you reclothe your character.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what all happened during the transition for this part. I'm sorry, guys, but like I recorded this.
We'll have to create a filler arc.
We skipped over a filler arc, effectively. Anyway, we're going to be showing off on the hardest of the optional, well, one of the harder optional bosses for me specifically, which is over here. One of the other things that I did not show off was us actually getting the Carpenter's key. Man, our filler arc actually had a lot of relatively important stuff for the start of this part. Damn. Okay, so we also did off-screen. We also did a bunch of crafting specifically because you can tell that we're actually using the Pallades headpiece, which is the second best headpiece in the game. It's just beneath the demon horns. We got accelerator, so off-screen I did do the Harrier race the correct way. And I also did a bunch of farming specifically in order to go and get Eternal Blue. Yeah, I did want to show off doing the farming because the farming was very boring. So here we have Eternal Blue, which is the best great sword in the game. It is an ice elemental great sword, and you'll notice that it does does a couple hundred points of damage to this particular enemy, the Carpenter. This Carpenter is honestly one of the hardest enemies for me to deal with because the chisel throw that he's got hits extremely fucking hard and is relatively fast, and it's difficult for me to actually to respond to appropriately. What I'm supposed to be doing in order to respond to it successfully is using directed shield, but I'm not running directed shield for this fight, so. Also, yes, Carpenter, if you interrupt him building the chest, he will summon Demon Lords at you. He actually has a very powerful purple shard in Chisel Barrage, but he did not drop it for us. So, yeah, that is the end of the normal. Well, most of the end of the normal optional bosses for Bloodstained. There is one more that I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to show off because it has been forever since I looked at these parts. But we're gonna go do something a bit easier than the other optional boss that I'm worried about showing off. We're gonna go and show off a little bit of the DLC.
Yay!
So, because Bloodstained was in Kickstarter production for so long, it actually got attention of a couple of different sponsorships. One of the sponsorships is one that we'll be showing off here with this Crown of Creation.
Is this right?
The Crown of Creation is a equipable item that doesn't actually give you any stats or anything, but you need to have this on in order to trigger the special event that we're going to.
Huh. I wonder if that is attributable to lore, because that also is a thing in Bloodborne. You have to wear the Crown of Illusions in order to find the Vile Blood Queen's chamber.
It's not a Bloodborne thing, most certainly.
No, I mean neither is it a Bloodstained thing. I think it's found in Gothic literature that you have to wear the crown and then go to the place, and then the truth will unveil itself.
The thing is, I'm not entirely sure because I'm not actually all that well versed with other forms of Gothic literature, to be perfectly honest. Like the most Gothic literature piece that I'm actually aware of is arguably Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and even then I'm not actually all that familiar with it because I haven't read it myself. I've just had it summarized to me by multiple different persons.
I read Frankenstein. There were no crowns in Frankenstein, just for the record.
Well, do you discount the headpiece of Frankenstein's monster Adam?
Can't remember if he necessarily had a headpiece on. I know that there were many descriptions of how hideous the monster was, so much that Dr. Frankenstein did not even care to look at it directly in the eye, even though it was his creation. And I'm sure his breath was absolutely horrible. Lips flapping, cold exterior. What a fucking abomination.
Well, the big reason why people were so why Dr. Frankenstein was so afraid of him was because he was actually very tall.
Yeah.
Tall and imposing,
tall
you know.
Versus short. Yes. A Goliath, if you will.
I would not, because Goliath is actually, although very tall and imposing in the cartoon that I recognize him from, he is also a very caring leader for his clan. So he is imposing due to circumstance, not on purpose, usually. Anyway, we have to go back through Glutton Train.
Yeah. Who needs a train when you can just run,
Unfortunately, baby? We still need the train because although Accelerator is really good and fast, it doesn't allow us to skip the train segment.
I thought we already did this boss.
We did do this boss. We're not here for a boss, actually, Mr. Cloud.
Oh. So what are we here
starters
for?
were showing off that there is an HP max up and an MP max up on the top half of this part of the train, as well as by the event that we're actually going. The event that we're actually going to is triggered by us wearing the Crown of Creation and finishing the train event.
The Queen has arrived.
Behold, we have made it to Deathlands. This is the crossover content specifically for Kingdom 2 Crowns. I have not played Kingdom 2 Crowns, but supposedly it's kind of interesting.
What?
And this is an enemy. Enemy from Kingdom 2 Crowns, the Breeder. I honestly don't know how accurate this depiction here is, nor do I care. But for defeating Breeder, we get another familiar shard, the Archer. If you get Archer to maxed out, it's actually one of the more powerful familiars. But that's mostly because our familiars in Bloodstained aren't actually all that good for the most part, aside from Silver Knight. We only actually have a dedicated combat familiar, and that is Bloodbringer. And Bloodbringer is not actually all that good at combat. He's just dedicated to it. Okay, so it looks like we are actually going to show up Kore. There is an enemy. There's an enemy on the train that unfortunately, if you attempt to trigger earlier, it won't happen because you have the time limit to deal with. And are you ready for some Japanese folklore, Mr. Cloud Person?
Once upon a dark and foggy train ride night.
Coach. And she began to spectate the outer limits of the castle.
Are we?
We are waiting
for something
Mr.
to
Cloud.
pop out at us.
We are waiting specifically for a thing to occur. Although this is a pretty good backdrop, honestly. You could just stare at this for several minutes, couldn't you, Mr. Cloud? With the aurora in the background,
maybe.
and the flowing cloudscape, and the castle, being all dark and imposing, the shifting water that's, kind of hypnotically shifting, the lamppost that shifts by like once every 5 seconds or so. It's closer to once every 3.5 seconds. But it's a nice rhythmic lamppost that shifts by once every 3.5 seconds. Wouldn't you say? And then you got the most of the full moon up above the castle when you can rarely see it. Yeah.
This has to be some of the most epic music set to just sitting by a train window. Look at the things that are outside. Holy crap, look at the aurora.
Yeah, it's a very nice aurora. And we got a fog bank. We're rolling through a fog bank, rather.
Well, I noticed that we are in motion because of perspective. The castle is slowly drifting to the right side of the screen.
Oh, look.
Is the train slowing down?
We're going through the forest segment.
Oh. Oh, now I can't see the castle. I need a point of reference.
Well, there's the castle. We're closer to it now.
Okay, now we're going over... Now we're going over a bridge. Wait, so if we're going left, how come we seem to be going to the right?
No, we're going to the left. Miriam's getting a bit drowsy, though. Oh, well, what's that? It's apparently getting closer, Mr. Cloud. Jump scare!
Dozing off there. Oh, wow.
This is Kure.
Okay.
Do not fight this enemy normally, because normally it will absolutely rip you the fuck apart. And it didn't give us the shard. God damn it. Kure drops the resist curse shard. It's the only method of getting resist curse in the entire game, and it actually has got a if it touches you or looks at you, it curses you. So, and it deals a shit ton of damage when it does so as well. So, yeah, I really dislike that Kure is here, and that it's actually relatively difficult when you don't know what the fuck you're doing against it. But since I do know what the fuck I'm doing against it, we took it down relatively easily.
Shocking character we had there. Jump scare. We haven't had any real jump scares in this game yet. I would not call this game scary. Difficult, maybe. At times horrifying, sure, but not scary.
Honestly, you're not going to encounter Kure through normal gameplay unless someone goads you into encountering it, and that's one of my minor problems with it. If you want to max out the bestiary, you have to both encounter and take down Kure, and it can be not extremely difficult, but a bit taxing in order to actually encounter it. Let's see.
Once again, movement speed upgrades are usually most appropriate after you have already explored all but 0.6% of the game map.
And most of what we're missing is actually in Tower of Twin Dragons. There's a couple of vertical passageways on the Vetlik boss arena that we've not explored.
And in the next
episode, we're I think we're doing prep for the final big event that we're doing. Be safe, everybody.
The big one.